your name. Welcome into this place. Welcome abide in the praises of your people. As we offer up this praise unto your name. Welcome into your chosen vessels. You desire to abide in the praises of your people. Lift our hands as we lift our hearts. Welcome into this place. Welcome into your joy in the praises of your people. So we lift our hands as we lift our hearts, as we offer up this unto your name. Welcome into your chosen vessel. Lift our hands as we lift our hearts, as we offer up this praise unto into this place. Welcome inside to abide in the praises of your people. So we lift our hands as we lift our hearts, as we offer up. Welcome into this place. Welcome into the praises of your gift, our hearts, as we offer up this praise unto your name. Welcome into your chosen vessels. You desire to abide in the praises of your gift, our hearts, as we offer up this praise unto your name. Welcome. You desire to abide in the praises of your people. So we lift our hands as we lift our hearts, as we offer up this praise unto Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me, Baruch Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, name, I will Baruch your name. I will Baruch your name. I will Baruch your name. Baruch Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me, Baruch Yahuwah. my soul, and all that is within me. I will Baruch your name. I will Baruch your name. Baruch you. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me. Baruch you. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me. I will Baruch your name. 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 Baruch. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me. Baruch Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me. I will Baruch your name. 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 Baruch. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me. Baruch Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me. I will Baruch him. I will Baruch Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me. I will Baruch your name. 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 Baruch Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me. Baruch Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me. I will Baruch your name. 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 Baruch you. All that is within me. I will Baruch your name. I will Baruch your name. I will Baruch your name. I will Baruch is within me. Baruch you. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me. I will Baruch your name. I will Baruch your name. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me. Baruch Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me. I will Baruch your name. 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 Baruch Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me. Baruch Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me. I will Baruch your name. I will Baruch your name. I will Baruch your name. I will Baruch your my soul, and all that is within me. I will Baruch your name. I will Baruch your name. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me. I will Baruch your name. I will Baruch your name. I will Baruch all that is within me. Baruch Yahuwah. Oh, my soul, and all that is within me. I will Baruch your name. I will Baruch your name. My soul, and all that is within me. I will Baruch your name. I will Baruch your name. I will Ayahab, Yahuwah. Ayahab, Yahuwah. Ayahab, Yahuwah. It was the best thing I ever heard. Ayahab, Yahuwah. Ayahab, Yahuwah. Best thing I ever done. Oh, Ayahab, Ayahab, Yahuwah. Ayahab, Yahuwah. Ever done. Oh, in his arms, I feel protected. In his arms, I feel connected. In his arms, I feel protected. And there is no place I'd rather be. In your arms, Best thing I ever done. Oh, in your arms, I feel protected. In your arms, I feel connected. In your arms, I feel. Oh, in your arms, I feel protected. Oh, Yahuwah. It was the best thing I ever.
For all that he has done and all that he is doing and all that he is yet going to do in our lives, it is now time for our declaration. The time when we come to voice print the atmosphere. The first voices that you hear will be a portion of the praise team, and I'll be immediately us into a time of declaration.
Listen here, have you ever heard this name? I know he washed and you will be clean. You'll be cleansed with the Spirit. Have you ever heard of this name? Name that starts with Y-A-M. Yeah. Yahoo, sweet Yahoo. Listen here, have you ever heard this name? I know he washed me clean. You will be clean. You'll be cleansed with the Spirit. Have you ever heard of this name? Name that starts with Y and ends with A. Goes like this. Yahush, yeah. Oh, his name is Yahush. His name is Yahush, yeah. Yeah. Yahoo, sweet Yahoo. Listen here, have you ever heard this name? I know he washed me clean, white as snow. If you have salvation, then you know you will be clean. You'll be cleansed with the Spirit. Have you? Yeah. Oh, say Yahoo, sweet Yahoo. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Psalm 119 says, how shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereunto, the Torah. So therefore, we know that the best way for us to cleanse our way, to make sure that our steps are right and that are clean and are pure, is to make sure that we are ordered and that the Torah is our foundation. His word is our foundation. God, and it is so.
And it is so.
Now repeat after me. I declare
that
upon the rock
upon the rock
of
of the Torah
I will stand.
I will stand.
I will always
Be
steadfast,
unmovable,
always abounding
in
in the Torah.
the Torah.
For as much as I know
For as much as I know
that my labor,
my belief,
and my standing is not in vain.
is not in vain.
Satan, you're defeated.
Satan, you are defeated.
Your darkness is scattered.
Your darkness is scattered.
And you shall sovereign.
And Yahushua is sovereign.
And it is so.
And it is so.
All that he is yet going to do. We magnify God because it's now time for us to sow seed into his kingdom. And so as we prepare to do so, for those of you that are here, you know what your obligations are. And so but for those of you that are watching and viewing remotely, if you would like to partner with us in what we're doing in our outreach, or if you'd like to partner with this work, this congregation, then if you want a place to send your donations of how support, if you desire to be one of those that will sow seed, and knowing that as surely as you sow seed, that the Abba will baruch you for your giving and for your obedience, then and if you desire to sow it and send it by mail, you can send it to P.O. Box 381, Columbia, South Carolina, 29202. That is the more modern method. You desire, if you have Cash App, you can DM us and we'll correspond accordingly. And we thank you in advance for all that you're going to do. And we do magnify that before you and for all of you that are already supporters of this work. Because remember, it is you that makes ministry happen. And it is so.
And it is so. Oh, Yahuwah.
Because with some giving music, come from where you are, bringing seed into our Our you said that if we're willing and obedient, that we shall eat the fatness of this land, and because we walk in obedience to your Torah, and that even in our giving, we do magnify you because it just shows you how that everything that we have is under your control. We do magnify you, Abba, for all that you've done, all that you're doing, and all that you're yet going to do in the name of Yahushua Mashiach. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is
In your presence one more time, Torah to you for allowing us to come into your place of viewing, whether it's your home, your car, your place of work, and for his greatness with all of you. So at this time, as we pleasure to bring to your forefront one who is truly called, anointed, and appointed to do this work. Like I said, many are called, but few are chosen, and I do magnify God that He has truly given us one of His chosen ones. And me personally, lo, these 34 years, this is my chosen one, and I do magnify God that I'm your chosen one too. She said no. Oh, she said yes. But we do magnify that for all that He's done. And she said yes. I'm like, Hallelujah. And so we do appreciate the album. And so let us put our hands together and let us receive our more the senior pastor of Messengers of Yahuwah's Kingdom and Break Belief Congregation, our very own apostle, the senior prophetess, and more Aliyah Yashura.
Come on, put your hands together and praise him. Come on, he's worthy, he's worthy, he's worthy. Come on, he's worthy, he's worthy, he's worthy. Come on, let's praise him, let's praise him. Come on, he's worthy, he's worthy, he's worthy. Come on, he's worthy, he's worthy, he's worthy. Come on, put your hands together and begin to praise him. Come on, worship him. We know it's storming outside, but we know it's also raining in here. Come on, praise him in my ways and allow us to make it back to this place safe, without incident, accident, without hurt, harm, and danger. So come on, we're going to sing a little bit of this. Come on, let's praise him, let's praise him. Come on. Come on, it's wonderful. Wonderful is his name. Wonderful is his name. Wonderful. Wonderful.
indeed. Free in our actions. Free in our hearts. Come on, here, like the praise. So freedom. Come on, we're free. We're free. And let the redeemed of the foolishness that's going on in the world today, we are still yet free. Come on, he's worthy of all praise. He's worthy of all esteem. Come on, keep putting your hands together and a holler. Show him from the heart. Oh, he's worthy, he's worthy, he's worthy of all praise. He's worthy of all esteem. Yes, he is. There is none like him. None, none, none like him. There is none like him, none like our Savior, none like our King. And we praise him for all things. And it is so. And it is so. At this time, we're going to have the Baruch of the Torah, and then we're going to have the reading of the 10 Commandments done by Mattathias, and then we're going to move forward. I pray once again that your Yom has been exceptionally well, and that though it may be storming, you are still at shalom, and you still acknowledge and recognize that you're in the hands of Abiyah, and he has never lost anyone. He's never lost anyone. The more we depend upon him, the more we will realize that he will never allow anything to happen to his chosen. Now, does that mean that we won't experience some troubles? Absolutely not. It means that no matter where we find ourselves, whether we find ourselves in a situation, a testing and trying situation, we know that we'll come out on top because he is our King, and he will protect us and keep us no matter what. And it is so. And it is so. And it is so. All right. Excuse me. We're going to have the Baruch of the Torah, and then the reading of the 10 Commandments. And it is so. The Baruch one, for all eternity. Baruch atah, Yahuwah, our supreme one, King of the universe, who selected us from all the peoples and gave us his Torah. Baruch atah, Yahuwah, giver of the Torah, and it is so. Baruch atah, Yahuwah, our supreme one, King of the universe, who gave us the Torah of truth, and implanted eternal life within us. Baruch atah, Yahuwah, giver of the Torah, and it is so. And it is so.
Leviticus 5:6 through 22. Aleph. I am Yahuwah, your power, which brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim from the base. Anything that is in Shemayim above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the mind beneath the earth. You shall not bow down yourself unto them, nor serve them, for I, Yahuwah, your power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the Abbas upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that hide me and keep my commandments. Guiltless that takes his name and empties it. Dalit, guard the Sabbath day to set it apart, as Yahuwah your power has commanded you. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahuwah your power. In it you shall not do any work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your ox, nor your ass, nor any of your cattle, nor your foreigner that is within your gates. that your manservant and your maidservant may rest as well as power has commanded you, that your days may be prolonged, and that it may go well with you in the land which your power is about to give you. Why? You shall not murder. Zane, neither shall you commit adultery. Ket, neither shall you steal. Tet, neither shall you bear false witness against your neighbor. You, neither shall you desire your neighbor's issue, neither shall you covet your neighbor's bed, his field, or his manservant, or his maidservant, his ox or his ass, or anything that is your neighbor's, with a great voice. And he added no more. And he wrote them in 2 tables of stone and delivered them unto me. And it is so.
And it is so. Chapter 6 of Devarim, which is Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 1 through 18. And it reads, these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which Yahuwah your power commanded to teach you, that you might do them in the land where you are going to enter and possess it, that you might fear Yahuwah your power to keep all his statutes and all the yamim of your life, and that your yamim may be prolonged days. Therefore, hear therefore, O Yasharal, and observe to do it, that it may be Shema Yasharal. Hear, O Yasharal, Yahuwah our supreme one. Yahuwah is a God. Them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your bed, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes, to fall to what? Your power shall have brought you into the land which he swore unto your fathers, to Abraham, to Yahweh, you did not plant. When you shall have eaten and be full, then beware lest you forget Yahuwah, which brought you forth out of the land of Mitzrayim, from the bed of slavery. You shall fear Yahuwah your power, and serve him, and shall swear by his name. Excuse me. Verse 15, for Yahuwah your power is a jealous power among you, lest the anger of Yahuwah your power be kindled against you, and he destroy you from off the face of the arid. It is important that we understand, if you ever have dealt with a person that's jealous, magnify that 1,000,000 times. Plus, and continue to magnify it. We are a special people unto the Abba. Not everybody, only Yasharal. And when we find ourselves out of place, you got to look at what he said in verse 15. For you from off the face of the arid, the earth. He didn't just say out of a place. He said off the earth. That means to take you away, take your life. You shall not tempt Yahuwah your power as you tempted him in Massah. You shall diligently keep the commandments of Yahuwah your power, and his testimonies and his statutes, which he has commanded you. And you shall do that which is right in the sight of Yahuwah, that it may be well with you, and that you may go in and possess the great land which Yahuwah swore to your fathers. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. And we're going to read verses 6, 7, and we're going to confess verse 8. And it is so.
And it is so.
You have it?
Come.
All right. Verse 6, be strong and of a great courage, for to this people shall ye divide for an inheritance the land which I swore to their Abbas to give them. Only be you strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the Torah, which Moshe my servant commanded you. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. Verse 8, as I've tailored it for our time of confession, I've not taken anything out, but I've made it personal. Let us confess it together. I will not let this scroll of the Torah,
I will not let this scroll of the Torah
depart out of my mouth,
depart out of my mouth,
but I shall meditate therein,
but I shall meditate therein,
Yom and Layla,
Yom and Layla,
that I may observe to do
that I may observe to do
according to all that is written in it.
according to all that is written in it.
For then I shall make my way prosperous,
For then I shall make my way prosperous,
and then I shall act wisely.
and then I shall act wisely.
Now look at your neighbor, tell your neighbor, you shall act wisely, and you shall act wisely. Look at your other neighbor, tell your other neighbor, you shall act wisely, and you shall act wisely. Now put your hand over your heart and say, Abba Yahuwah,
Abba Yahuwah,
I shall act wisely.
I shall act wisely.
Come on, Abba Yahuwah,
Abba Yahuwah,
I shall act wisely.
I shall act wisely.
I endeavor
I endeavor
to act wisely.
to act wisely.
I endeavor
I endeavor
to act, and it is so. I endeavor to act wisely, regardless of how the odds may come up against us as a people. It is important that we fight to maintain, to be, and to act wisely. And it is so.
And it is so.
Mishley 15:8, the sacrifices of the wicked is an abomination, hateful, and exceedingly offensive unto you, Abba Yahuwah, but the prayer of the upright is. Now you got to understand, I want to take a break right here. You got to understand who he's talking about is the wicked.
God.
He's talking about those that he has not called and he has not chosen. When they try to offer up to him, it's an abomination to him. But the prayers of the upright, it is his delight. He delights in hearing from us. That's important for us to understand and know. And it is so.
And it is so.
Mishley 3:4, which is Proverbs 3:4. Also Mishley 15:8, which is Proverbs. So shall you find, this is Proverbs 3:4. So shall you find great understanding and high esteem in the sight or judgment of Yahuwah and man. And it is so.
And it is so.
Now we're going to go to Yehukin and Aleph, chapter 5, verses 1 through 15. I read this every opportunity that I get when we are in class, because it is not just a reminder to us, but it is our life. It should be not second nature, but it should be a part of our lifestyle and our nature to acknowledge and recognize Yahush as being the Mashiach and as being the son of Abba Yahuwah, the one who has come to point the way for us, to give us the directions and point the way to salvation for us, because it is in him that we possess everlasting life. Don't let anybody lie to you, and don't let anybody make you believe that what everybody is calling the New Testament, it's not the New Testament, it is the renewed covenant. For without the renewing of the covenant, there would be no room for us. There would be no access to us. And without Yahush, you have no access to the covenant, the first covenant. And so it is important that we understand that. Many times we get people that become zealous, and they be zealous for the wrong thing, and they listen to the wrong people. If you don't have Mashiach, they're telling you he's some white man and you follow the oppressors and you can't read this, well, then you need to sit down. You need to just close your eyes and not wake up ever again. Because no matter what we do in this life, there's going to be somebody's voice, and a stranger they will not follow. So it is important that we learn the voice of Abba Yahuwah through Yahush our Mashiach, because he's speaking to us through his son. And without his son, you will not be able to hear the voice of Abba Yahuwah. So it is important that we acknowledge him and not forget him. That is so important. And I know many people don't like it, because we got on this way and in this life, we will break that stubborn spirit, and he will break that division, and that he will cause once again. So it is important that we be, I'm talking about what he's given to us, and not the stuff that we, most of the time find ourselves bickering and fussing over. But that's something else. But it's important that we keep this hot on our heart, and not just our mental memory, where we are. We would not have eternal life. And so it is important. And so we're going to read at verse 1 all the way to everyone who believes that Yahush is the Mashiach has been born of Yahuwah. And everyone who ahabs, which means loves the one bringing forth, also ahabs the one having been born of him. By this we know that we ahab the children of Yahuwah, when we ahab Yahuwah and guard his. For this is the love for Yahuwah, that we guard his commands, and his command difficult, because everyone having been overcome, who bears witness, because the Ruach is the truth. Because there are three who bear witness, the Ruach and the water and the blood, and the three are in agreement. So it's not an issue. Let me take that back. It's not an issue. The reason it becomes an issue is because people doubt the validity of this and doubt truly who he is. That's when it becomes an issue. I have no issues. I pray you don't. Witness of men, listen here. The witness of Yahuwah is greater, because this is the witness of Yahuwah, which he has witnessed concerning his son. The one who believes in the Son of Yahuwah has the witness in himself. The one who does not believe Yahuwah has made him a liar, because he has not believed the witness that Yahuwah has given concerning his son. And this is the witness, that Yahuwah has given us eternal life, does not possess life. So if you are a hater of the Mashiach and you cannot accept him, you don't have eternal life. You don't have it. I have written this to you who believe in the name of the Son of Yahuwah, so that you know that you possess everlasting life. And so that you believe in the name of the Son of Yahuwah. And this is the boldness that we have in him, that if we ask whatever according to his desire, he hears us. And if we know that he hears us, whatever we and ask according to his desire for our lives. How are you going to know what the Abba desires for you if you don't know who the Mashiach is? You don't know. So it's important that we understand he is our liaison and he is our mediator. And without him, you cannot even receive the Ruach HaKodesh.
That's right.
You cannot. And I don't end it. Therefore, the Ruach of Yahuwah hath made me, and the breath of the Almighty hath given me life. Somebody say he's a life giver.
He's a life giver.
Say it again. He is a life giver.
He is a life giver.
And it is so.
And it is so.
Tehillim 34 and 15, which is Psalms 34 and 15. The eyes of Yahuwah are upon the upright, and his ears are open unto our cry. Verse 17, the upright cry, and it is so.
And it is so.
Acts 1 and 8, but we shall receive, and we shall be witnesses unto him, and in all Judea and Shamar. But without belief, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Yahuwah must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. You got to have belief. If you don't have belief, then what are you standing on? It's important that we understand that. Are you hearing me? All right, we're going to begin. We're going to read our affirmation. From our affirmation, we're going to read our declaration, and then we're going to have our final song and go into part 2 of our class. All right, repeat with me. I purpose to develop my Ruach.
I purpose to develop my Ruach.
I purpose to walk in the light of Torah.
I purpose to walk in the light of Torah.
I am Ibram.
I am Ibram.
I am born again.
I am born again.
I am Ibram.
I am Ibram.
I have the life and nature.
I have the life and nature.
I purpose to walk in
I purpose to walk in
the Torah of life.
the Torah of life.
Yahuwah's Torah,
Yahuwah's Torah.
Yahush,
Yahush
is in me.
is in me.
Yahuwah's knowledge
Yahuwah's knowledge
is in me.
is in me.
Yahuwah's ahab
Yahuwah's ahab
is in me.
is in me.
Yahuwah's power
Yahuwah's power
is in me.
is in me.
Yahuwah's wisdom
Yahuwah's wisdom
is in me.
is in me.
He is teaching me.
He is teaching.
He is leading me.
He is leading.
I am a child of Yahuwah.
I am a child of Yahuwah.
The Ruach
The Ruach
HaKodesh
HaKodesh
of Yahuwah in me
of Yahuwah in me
is leading me.
is leading.
I'll follow her leading.
I'll follow her lead.
I'll walk in the Torah.
I'll walk in the Torah.
Yahush,
Yahush
our Mashiach.
our Mashiach.
And it is so.
And it is so.
I want to point something out too. If you truly have the Abba in your life, and you truly say you walk with him and he's walking with you, there is no way you can hate his son, because he adores and ahabs his son. There is no way you can say that you have a relationship with the Abba and denounce, criticize, and talk about his very being, his son, and then talk all evil and all ill concerning about the renewed covenant. There's no way possible. Somewhere wires have gotten mixed up, and somewhere along the line, deception is in the congregation heavily. And it's time that we pray that the Abba weeds it out, and that he purges all of the error and all of the deception out. Because until that happens, we hear what the Ruach is saying unto the congregation. Unless you have an ear to hear, you're missing it. You don't know what's going on. And we're in dire times, and now is not the time to be deaf, hard-headed, stubborn, and rebellious and stiff-necked. This is surely not the time. It has never been a time, but surely now is not the time for us to be playing the field and not being confident and being committed to the things of the Abba, and that is his son. It is important that we understand that. And it is so.
And it is so.
And it is so. All right, our declaration of healing, and then we're going to have our song. Repeat with me. Abba Yahuwah.
Abba Yahuwah.
In the name of Yahush.
In the name of Yahush.
Our Mashiach.
Our Mashiach.
We subdue ignorance.
We subdue ignorance
With Torah knowledge.
with Torah knowledge.
And through this knowledge
And through this knowledge
of Torah truth,
of Torah truth,
we claim healing,
we claim healing,
deliverance,
deliverance,
and salvation.
and salvation.
We decree
We decree
Torah truth
Torah truth
in the lives
in the lives
of your people,
of your people,
our people,
our people,
Yasharal.
Yasharal.
We unite
We unite
not to fight,
not to fight,
not to fight,
not to fight,
not to fight
not to fight
each other,
each other,
each other,
each other,
but the enemy
but the enemy
of our belief.
of our
Let everything that has breath praise Yahuwah. Let everything that has breath praise Yahuwah. Let everything that has breath, everything that has breath, to bow before our King. Let us bow. Repeat with me. May the utterance of my mouth
May the utterance of my mouth
and the deliberation of my heart
and the deliberation of my heart
be desirable before you,
be desirable before you,
O Yahuwah,
O Yahuwah,
my rock
my rock
and my redeemer.
and my redeemer.
May the utterance of my mouth
May the utterance of my mouth
and the deliberation of my heart
and the deliberation of my heart
be desirable before you,
be desirable before you,
O Yahuwah,
O Yahuwah,
my rock
my rock
and my redeemer.
and my redeemer.
And it is so.
And it is so.
We have just recited Tehillim 19 and 14, which is Psalms 19 and 14. And it is so.
And it is so.
You may be seated in his presence. You okay? Okay. We appreciate the Abba for all that he's doing, all that he's done, and all that he's yet going to do in the lives of us, his people. On this, Layla, we're going to continue from Sabbath. This is something that the whatever he says and however he says to bring it forth. We're going to read some things, and then I'm going to read some things to you, and we're going to discuss the importance of going back to that path, to that way of life that is of a younger generation. Myself, my Ish, and those that are in our bracket. Our parents were another generation, and their parents, and then our children make up a generation. But it's important that we, as this generation, in 67 and 65 and all those in the 60s, just blatantly and some ignorantly just missed and did not set forth as a plan of action. And so now here it is up to us and the other generations. And we came through many movements, but those movements never moved anything for us. A platform and established some things as the people of Yahuwah, so that we're able to know where we're going and what is it going to take for us to get there, and then find where did we slip up, where did we miss that has caused us to be where we are. Yeah, many of us say, yeah, we know what happened. Our people were disobedient. Yes, they were disobedient numerous times. You got to remember, our people continue to be disobedient as a nation. You got to understand, it's not just talking about one or two people. It's talking about us as a people, as a nation, that we have been disobedient unto Abba. And so we're going to continue with the relevancy of the plea. What is the plea? The restoration plea. We are pleading. We are crying out to the Abba, and not only to the Abba, but also making this a plea to you to turn back to the ways of old. And somebody will say, what are the ways of old? Talking about sacrificing, the animals? No, what I'm talking about, see, because that has already been done and fulfilled through Yahushua HaMashiach. That part has been fulfilled through him, but there are still responsibilities and obligations that we need to own up to when it is concerning us as a people and our lifestyle. You ask the average person, what is our way of life? What are we supposed to do? Let me tell you something. Seats are great, and we wear seats. But the thing of it is, it's not just about seats. It is about our lifestyle when we take them off. Right. It is about what we're doing 24/7. Are y'all following me? No. That is important. So we're going to look at Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 16. Verse 16. And it reads, thus says Yahuwah, stand in the ways, that's plural, not singular. Thus says Yahuwah, stand in the ways, plural, not singular, and look intently. To look intently means you're not going to take your eyes off of it. You're going to stare at it, and you're going to look at it until you understand, what am I looking at and why? And what am I to draw from this? And make inquiry for the paths. Once again, plural, for the ancient paths, where I'm taking my time reading it, great way is, and walk in it. then you will find rest for your soul. To us as a, so it's a group effort. The Abba is not just judging us based upon one or two people. He's judging us as a congregation of people. Now I want to do this. Like I said, I'm going to share a little bit on to Layla, read some, and then we're going to pray because I know the time is a little late. But I want us to listen at this. Now, the time is now and the place of action is here for the emphasis upon the restoration plea. Once again, I told you the restoration plea is Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 16. Also, can be found in Yehukin chapter 15, verse 10. Ahab for Yahuwah is Ahab for his way. If you Ahab me, keep my commandments. Yehukin 14 and 15. So in other words, also, you have to understand, Yahush is not fighting against the Abba. Neither is he trying to rebuttal what was already stated. What he is saying to his disciplined followers is he's reiterating what some of them already knew. So he was not coming to away with the law. Matit Yahu tells us 5 and 17 and 18 specifically tells us he did not come to do away with the law or the instructions of the Abba, but to fulfill it. Now you got to understand also that word law is not general. There are specific instructions that he gave us. Just like if you go to any state or any city, there are certain laws that pertain specifically to that city or that state that no other state has to follow. Because those are laws that govern that city or that state. Now, it's important that we understand these laws govern us as a people. They govern us as a people. So the emphasis is on, and the plea has been, let's go back to the writings, the unadulterated writings. Let us speak where the speaks, and be silent where the writings are silent. And let us call those things by their names, and do those things the way we are supposed to. Are y'all hearing me?
Yes.
Now, it's important to understand the time is now, as I said before, and the place of action is here for the emphasis upon the restoration plea. We need to plead for return to the ancient order applies to our, once again, general applies to us and to our people, even those that are not walking in it. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
It doesn't matter. People say, well, I don't live by that. It doesn't matter. It still applies to you and you're supposed to.
That's right.
There is no redemption, no get out of jail card. The shuffling feet of a distant points. Every generation must be taught the fundamentals. It's important. Let's look at Shoftim, which is Judges chapter 2, verses 7 and 10. And this was just amazing to me. Once again, the writings, how if we look at the writings intensely, once again, he says, look for that way. The only way you're going to, we got to stand in the ways, and we got to look for the way. You got to pray for the way. You can't just get up and say, well, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do, and whatever falls, wherever the chips fall, they just fall. That's wherever they're going to be. No, it's important that we understand the impact of us not doing it versus the impact of us doing it. Follow me.
Yes.
All right. Once again, Judges chapter 2, verses 7 through 10. All right. 7 through 10.
7 through 10. And the people served Yahuwah all the days of Yahush, and all the days of the elders that outlived Yahush, who had seen all the great works of Yahuwah that he did for Yashmael.
Mm-hmm.
And Yahush the son of Nun, the servant of Yahuwah, died, being 110 years old. And they buried him in the border of the inheritance of Timras, and then on the north side of the hill Gaash. Another generation after them, which knew not Yahuwah, nor the works which he had done for Yasharal. And it is so.
And it is so. Now I'm going to read verse 11. Then the children of Yasharal did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah and served the Balaam, and forsook Yahuwah power of their Abbas, who had brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim, and went after other mighty ones of the people who were all around them. And they bowed down to them and provoked Yahuwah. Now, once again, it's important to understand there is a generation or generations that have gone on, and there's a generation that now until we came into truth. We didn't know it. We didn't know it. We wouldn't have known it if it slapped us in the face until we came into truth. But the important thing is to understand that that don't know the power of Abba Yahuwah. They don't even know the Ahab of Abba Yahuwah, because it's been they've been estranged for so many generations. And so it is important that we understand that the plea is out there, and it will remain out there until the Abba silences those of us that are saying it's time to come back home. You can't refute who you are.
That's right.
You don't even have a leg, not even the two that you have to stand on to refute that. We understand that. Now, even among those who have heard, some may erroneously think of as worn out truth, up through 15, and chapter 3, verses 1 through 2. Let's go there, please. Which is Peter chapter 1, 2 Peter chapter 1. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. 2 Peter chapter 1, and we're going to read chapter 1, verses 12 through 15. Remember, that's 2 Peter. 2 Peter chapter 1, verses 12 through 15, and then someone get chapter 3, verses 1 through 2.
It is.
All right, come on. Read that for me, 12 through 15.
And it reads, "And so I intend to remind you of these matters again and again, though you know them and have been established in the present truth. But I think it is right, as long as I am in this tent, to stir you up by a reminder. 14.
To 15.
Knowing that the putting off of my tent is soon, even as our Master Yahushua Mashiach made clear to me. And I shall do my utmost also to see to it that you always have a reminder of these matters after my departure."
And it is so. All right, chapter 3, verses 1 and 2.
And it is so.
Come on, and it is so. Mm-hmm.
Coming from the NIV writings. Dear friends, this is now my second letter to you. I've written both of them as reminders to stimulate you to wholesome thinking. I want you to recall the words spoken in the past by the Kodesh prophets and the command given by our Savior and Master through your apostles. And it is so.
Now you got to finish. Comma right there. Go all the way into 13. I'm sorry, into 3.
Verse 3. First of all, you must understand that in the last days, scoffers will come, scoffing and following their own desires. Verse 1.
Yep, because that goes into that.
They will say, "Where is this coming he promised? Ever since our fathers died, everything goes on as it has since the beginning of creation." But they deliberately forget that long ago, by Yahuwah's word, the Shemayim existed, and the earth was formed out of Mayim, and by water, and water again. By these waters also the world at that time was deluged and destroyed. And it is so.
And it is so. Now, once again, he is doing what? Stirring them up to contend or maintain the way in truth, which we have to be reminded of. Some of us are not just being reminded of staying in it, but to get in the truth. Because some of us are not in truth. Some of us are on the outskirts. Some of us are dancing around and everything about who you are and what you have in this way of life. It's important that we understand it is a plea. That is why he tells us in Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 16, thus says Yahuwah, not man, Yahuwah. Stand in the ways and look intently and make inquiry for the ancient paths. Again, where the great way is, and walk in it. Once we find it and establish that way, continue to walk in it. Right. Then you will find rest for your souls. But look what they said. But they said we will not walk in it, just like to y'all. You got a lot of folk that will not, no matter what you say, they are not going to walk in it. Don't let it be said of you that you refuse to walk in truth. And nothing but the truth. So help you with your heart and with your mind and with your every being to walk in the truth. Now, once again, very important for us to understand. The time is urgent that we plead for return to the writings to prevent some from departing from the belief. We can also find in Ibram, which is Hebrews chapter 2, verses 1 through 4. I'm going to give you these scriptures. And once I give you these scriptures, we're going to talk about some of the things that our people lost and some of the things that we have to really find ourselves going back to. We're trying to go forward, and we can't go forward as long as we are still stuck in rebellion and disobedience.
That's right.
All right, let's look at Hebrews, please, chapter 2. All right. When you haven't said it is so. All right, Hebrews chapter 2.
And it is so.
All right. Come on, read that for me. Come on.
Starting at verse 1.
Hebrews chapter 2, verses 1 through 4.
And it reads, because of this, we have to pay more attention to what we have heard, lest we drift away. For if the spoken word through messengers proved to be firm, and every transgression and disobedience received a right reward, how shall we escape if we neglect so great a deliverance, which first began to be spoken by the Master, and was confirmed to us by those that heard? Power also bearing witness with various miracles and gifts of the Ruach HaKodesh, distributed according to his own desire. And it is stop at verse 4.
Yep. Chapter 2, verses 1 through 4. All right. Now, once again, how shall we escape if we neglect so great a deliverance, which first began to be spoken by? It's important that we understand. They heard it, but we are still hearing it. Don't turn a deaf ear. Don't turn a blind eye. It is important that we listen and that the Ruach stir us to remain in truth. And if you're not in truth, get in the truth.
Right.
And don't depart from it no matter what. We must contend for the belief, lest many leave the old paths and turn to the doctrines and commandments of men. That's Jude chapter 3. 3, verse 3. Chapter 3, verse 3. Jude only has one book, y'all. Sorry. All right, let's go to Jude. And let's read verse 3. When you have it saying it is so.
And it is so.
All right, read that for me, please.
How many verses?
Huh?
How many verses?
Just one, verse 3.
And this one.
And it is so.
Beloved, when I give all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation, it was needful for me to write unto you and exhort you that you should earnestly contend for the belief which was once delivered unto the believers.
Read that again.
Beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation, it was needful for me to write unto you and to exhort you that you should earnestly contend with the belief, or for the belief which was once delivered unto the believers.
All right. Now, once again, very important. I'm going to read it. Write to you concerning our common deliverance. I felt the necessity to write to you, urging you to earnestly contend for the belief which was once for all delivered to the Kodesh ones, meaning us, the children of Yasharal. We were given a way of life. We were shown what to do and how to do it. And our ancestors and forefathers did not want to do it. They did not want to remain in truth. They got tired of it. And so they left out. But you got to understand, the Abba always leaves a root. He always leaves those that are going to yet contend and those that are going to yet hold fast to it. Right. And so because we do have truth, it is important that we fight to maintain. It is important that we fight and look intently to the ways that were once delivered unto us. You got to ask yourself the question, what were the ways that were delivered to us? Because every man is going according to his own way. So the question is, whose way is right? The Abba's way is right.
That's right.
History never lies when it's spoken in truth.
God.
No, I said, but history does lie. No, history itself does not lie.
That's right.
God.
History is only a lie when it comes out of the person's mouth that has created a lie.
God.
But history never lies. History is always going to pop up. You're going to always find the truth about the real history. One way or the other is coming to the forefront. Are y'all hearing me?
Yes.
All right. Now, once again, it's important that we understand we are seeking this path. We're seeking this way to know what we are to do and how we are to do it. Are y'all hearing me? Now, once again, the restoration plea is a plea for unity. Somebody say unity.
Unity.
The restoration plea is a plea for unity. Somebody say unity.
Unity.
Say it again.
Unity.
Unity. You and I tied. You and I tied. That's what unity could really stand and mean. You and I tie. What do we tie? We tie, or we come together as one. The restoration that we are seeking for is unity. Until we become unity bound, we will constantly be scattered and we will constantly have no strength or power. You not ever hear the saying, divided, together we stand, divided we fall? Mm-hmm. You can also say divided we fail. Because until we unify and we began to set a standard of you to be looked at as a people that know not who they are because of our division. Mm-hmm. Are y'all following me? Okay. Very important for us to understand. Now, once again, the plea is for unity. It is a call for all men and women to stand upon the writings and the writings alone. Somebody say the writings.
The writings.
And the writings alone.
And the writings alone.
It's very important that we understand that. Excuse me, because if we choose to follow other than the writings, we're going to be off course. Okay. You cannot mix the writings with other religions and cultures. That's just like trying to bake a cake and you got all kind of stuff in it. That now it's no longer a cake, it becomes a disaster. Because you already have the recipe and the ingredients and the instructions on how to prepare the perfect cake. In order for us to be a perfect people unto the Abba, it is important that we find the ingredients and stick with the ingredients and don't mix and add. Many of our people are hurting and seeking for answers, and they're seeking for them in the wrong place. And then they find something, and then they gravitate to it, and now it becomes doctrine to them. And truthfully, you cannot find it nowhere in the writings to substantiate some of the stuff that our people are holding on to. And instead of you proof and evidence, it is important that we understand proof and evidence. I'm going to read that again to you. Let me find my booklet. Please tell me it's in here. Yes, it's got to be in here. Yes, it is. Why? Because I want you to understand the importance, and it may sound like a broken record, but it's okay. Why? Because I'm here to stir you, to cause you to remember and to stay reminded of the importance of contending, fighting for the belief, the true belief that the Abba has given unto us through Yahushua HaMashiach. What constitutes proof? Proof in the mind of individuals. Some require just a little little bit of evidence to support a doctrine or belief, while others require a lot of evidence to support a doctrine or belief. But it is very important that we rely on evidence to support our belief rather than an interpretation of a certain doctrine or a certain theory relies on a person to already be predisposed to believing in whatever it is they are promoting. In order to interpret evidence in such a way that supports their doctrine or belief. Are y'all hearing me?
Yeah.
Now, it's important that one need to rely on a certain level, highly interpretive evidence rather than real proof, yet strong throughout some, and this is talking about lunar Sabbatarian literature, a very strong terms such as conclusive proof. Even in other doctrines and beliefs and theories, it is the terms and the what is the word? The term I'm looking for? Not ambiguous. It's ambiguous terms and words to mislead our people. And so when you begin to examine conclusive proof, that means that there is nothing else that can be brought in to either challenge it or to substantiate it. So you have to be careful of these types of things. Are y'all following me?
Yeah.
Very important for us to understand. It becomes clear that the evidence offered is far from proof, let alone conclusive. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
We should always be aware of someone's broad brush use of terms like this and be a great judge of whether or not what they offer is really proof. It is easy to be swayed by strong terminology. So we should be willing to make our own judgments about whether or not their evidence is proof. Are y'all following me?
Yeah.
Once again, I like that definition because it stands for a whole lot of stuff that constantly we'll take a thing, and because it has been promoted by certain people that we know, we love, or whatever, we respect, then we tend to take that because they're speaking on it says it has to be real, which is not right. Because until we can substantiate it and truly show the evidence along with the proof, then we're just going off of someone's testimony of what it really is. Are y'all following me?
Yes.
Now, I want to interject this real quick. And like I said, I just need 10 more. Just give me 10 more. I'm going to say 20 more minutes of your time. 20 more minutes of your time. Now, striving and praying to be herbalists. To be herbalists. To be herbalists. Now, the thing that I want to bring out here is that we have proof that what we've been studying and what we've been utilizing works.
Mm-hmm.
It works.
Okay.
And we're going to put up the evidence once we get a chance. Mm-hmm. It is important that we do this. Now, this is the thing that is important. Proof, evidence, not just based upon somebody's interpretation of evidence. I said it before, and I continue to use this. I'm going to go back to that in a moment, but I want to use this. I continue to use the example of police back in the day, and even now, they don't have to throw a gun down and shoot you. They just shoot you if you melanated or what we would call black. They just shoot you. But back in the day, in order for them to have to be able to do without suffering any repercussion, what they would do is they would always carry an extra gun. And that gun would be the gun that they would throw down in the presence or on or under the person, or put it in the person's hands to say, well, they had a gun and they shot at me. Well, the evidence, now listen to what I'm going to say, proves or points towards the person being guilty. But the proof of that evidence has to be still confirmed or proven. Until it is proven, it is their word against the person's word or those who saw it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So here we have the same scenario. You have those, yeah, which I'm not talking about lunar Sabbath, but I'm just using that as a reference to it. No, lunar Sabbath keepers are all off and they're wrong. We do not Sabbath according to the lunar Sabbaths. We do not. We don't keep that. But I was using it as a reference and using the what I truly enjoy, and what I enjoy is the evidence of proof. That statement alone stands, and it qualifies to be used because it shows us that just because a person can bring forth proof or evidence doesn't mean that they can show proof of where they got the in training. And this type of training is not one of those that you say, okay, to Yom, we're going to do this, to Yom, that's going to happen. No, I'm talking about hands-on training, things that happen unexpectedly, things that we're not aware. About 3 weeks, say about to first degree to second degree burns. It was burnt all the way, his skin. It's popping out there, and you see the bubbles popping all over the place. He was going to play with the puppy, and somehow the urn tipped over. And when it tipped over, it got on his arm all the way up to his. Now he had first and second degree burns. Petroleum jelly, and we use coconut oil, and what was the other root? Slippery elm. And we had it, and we made it into a nice salve. And I put it on his arm, and put it on there, and put it on there, and we wrapped it, and I wrapped it. Then I would let it air out. Even on to Yom, you cannot tell that he had first and second degree burns on his arm. We have evidence as well as proof to show that when you study and you truly know what you're doing, you can get great results. I realize there are things that are going to happen that we must be prepared for. And we were prepared. So I give the Abba all praise and all credit for it. The reason I said that is for this reason. Once again, it is there. Each one of these ingredients brought about a healing to do what it does, and that's to regenerate. His skin was hanging off. You could see it was pink. It looked at a mess. But with what we had been studying to do, we were able to cause the skin to heal and regenerate the cells by not doing it. Like I told him, if he would have gone to the hospital, they'd have scrubbed his arm down, and they'd have had him in so much pain that it wouldn't have been funny. Did he take any meds? No, he did not. But that what we put on him, that slippery elm and the coconut oil, and the put it in there and made it real nice, put it on his arm, and it soothed it, as well as it also nurtured and gave the cells and the skin the opportunity to do what it is supposed to do, and that's to regenerate. And it did. And his arm is just as nice, and you wouldn't believe that on his arm. So I am saying it is important that we do these things. Now, it's important also that you know what you're doing, because if you don't know what you're doing, you can hurt somebody. And so very important that we understand this, what we need to do. And once again, this is another thing that for us as a people to go back into medicine. And I'm not talking about pharmaceutical medicine. I'm not talking that does not bother you. That than the burn itself. Because if he would have gone and had these big old bright spots on his arm, but you can't even tell that he's been burnt. Once again, and I give the Abba all the praise for it, because he will give us what to do and how to do it. But we got to get ourselves back in place. Right. We have to. It is very important that we do that. Now, once again, Yahuwah has always desired that we seek him. On Mars Hill, Paul preached, men should seek Yahuwah and feel after him and find him, though he be not far from every one of us. That's in Acts chapter 17, verses 22 to 28. Now, the reason I'm bringing out these verses is because it's important that we understand that you got to show the Abba you want him. You got to seek him. It is not one of those things, I'm in truth, now everything is done. No, it's just like marriage and relationship. You don't get in a relationship and say, now I got you, and now we just, it's just this, that, and the other. No, you have to spend quality time. It is about communication. It is about relationship. And healthy relationships are built through having quality time spent together. It is important that we understand that. We should seek Yahuwah and feel after him and find him. And find him. That means he is in reach, but are we really reaching for him? Because if we're all really reaching for him, there's no way we're going to still be missing the unity that is supposed to be with us as a nation. There's no way possible. Because if we're all seeking and searching for him, we all going to run at each other. It's important that we understand that. Are y'all here?
Yes.
I'll read some other things that's important. Once again, we're talking about Jeremiah chapter 6, seeking the old paths. Thus said Yahuwah, stand in the ways, which is plural, and look intently and make inquiry for the ancient paths. That means walk in it. Then we will find rest for our souls. Let us not be like our ancestors and tell him, okay, no, we ain't gonna do it. We enjoy being, poverty stricken. We enjoy, being the butt end of the joke. We enjoy, being evil. Thus said Yahuwah, stand ye in the ways and ask the old paths, where is the great way, and walk therein. When we ask him, we got to walk in it. We can't refute it once we get the answer. And we shall find rest for our souls. Now, this is often quoted, a passage, a plea for Yasharal to return to his way is as binding today, just as important today as it was in that time for us to do these things. Now, it is binding. Wholesale changes are taking place among Yahuwah's people. Changes that are certainly not according to Yahuwah's direction. For us to properly apply the principle of this passage, we must understand some demands of Yahuwah's way.